I now turn the podium over to Dr. Christine Spadafor for the presentation of our commencement address.
Thank you, Board of Trustees, Sister Candace, distinguished guests, and especially the class of 2015. You look so beautiful. And happy Mother's Day to all of our moms and grandmothers. What a great gift for the moms today. I'm so proud to be with you today, a non-traditional student from Erie who finished off-term, so I never attended my commencement ceremony. I am deeply grateful for this honor and for the college inviting me to participate in the experience I missed all those years ago. In preparation for this commencement address, I interviewed some of today's graduates, a diverse group with diverse opinions about topics they wanted to hear on graduation day. One told me she was so exhausted from studying and so thrilled to be graduating after years of hard work, it was fine with her if I just recite multiplication tables. You know who you are. Hearing the generous words of your honorary degree, I was struck that the recitation may have made my career path appear somewhat glamorous. Yes, my work has exposed me to interesting issues, fascinating people, and far-flung locations. But for every passport stamp or celebrity encounter, there were dozens of nights on the road, some years logging nearly 200,000 air miles, and I can promise you that business travel on that scale quickly loses any hint of glamour. Truth be told, there were occasional moments when I started to entertain the notion I might be doing something glamorous, such as when I worked with a French perfume company and a Hollywood movie studio. But the universe has a way of stepping in with reality checks. Like the time not so long ago when a group of 7-year-old boys set me straight. For 10 years, I had the privilege to serve as CEO of a charity that cares for abused, abandoned, and homeless children, and my door was always open to them. One day, this small, self-appointed committee of boys came into my office. David, the spokesperson for the group, announced they had done a report card on me. He reported that after much thought and many long discussions, the children had reached a conclusion that I was not hip at all and only a little bit cool. I paused for a moment. They nervously waited for my response, and then told them I thought they were absolutely right. Relieved and with mission accomplished, they skipped out of the office, but only after helping themselves to treats from the candy jar. When I was about the same age as those boys, my nurturing father, a strong, tender World War II veteran, told me a secret that changed my life irrevocably. I could be whatever I wanted. I took his earnest words at face value, feeling a bit emboldened and empowered. I now possessed lifelong permission to forge any path I chose. What my dear father did not tell me, as I was too young to understand at the time, was that taking my own path would be an uncertain, sometimes daunting journey, one with many missteps along the way. He did not tell me that sometimes I would feel afraid, that sometimes I would feel like a failure, that sometimes the process would be messy. As you achieve this great milestone today and look to the future, whether a traditional or non-traditional student, sometime in your careers, the same challenges are likely to happen to you. I know what it feels like. You will get through them. I am you. You see, I did not come directly to Roche from high school. I was a good student with strong aptitude for science. So my high school counselor advised me to attend a hospital RN diploma program rather than pursue a bachelor's degree. That was the typical path to becoming a nurse in those days. So I followed her advice. After all, why did I need a college degree, since supposedly I was going to work as a nurse forever? After a few years in nursing, however, I decided I would rather run the hospital. So enrolled at Roche with a business concentration. With my Roche degree in hand, I had a plan and a job in Washington, D.C. My well-laid plan unraveled quickly in a position that was a one-year assignment and my first real exposure to politics in the workplace. Before the end date, a political appointee replaced my supervisor. He was bringing in his own team, and I was instructed to resign. Suddenly, I was now looking down a deep, dark hole. A new apartment with new financial obligations, a new city, and no community of friends. Instantly needing a job, the only thing I could find was an hourly position in a bookshop. Almost overnight, my dreams of having a meaningful career in a big city began slipping away. I considered packing up and moving back home to stay with my parents. Despite my shiny new business degree, my skills toolbox for a business career was meager. I felt like a failure, my prospects were poor, and the uncertainty scared me. Because of my inexperience, I also did not understand that my career actions needed to be strategic and bold, which would require evaluating long-term options, taking risks, and venturing out onto those skinny branches well beyond my comfort zone. Instead of having confidence in my potential, I played it safe. My goal was simple. I just wanted a job. At the same time, I did not realize the power and necessity of building a community that could assist me as I stumbled along, trying to figure out where I fit in professionally. I'd been busy, head down, studying for so many years in an ambitious effort to catch up from my first misstep. I was isolated from any professional network because I had not invested in one. I was trying to go it alone, and it was a big mistake. Because I had been given permission to do whatever I wanted, I was determined to overcome the unexpected and sometimes painful turns on this meandering path, and to learn from them. So the first lesson I learned was to build an ever-expanding skills toolbox for agility and flexibility and relevance. I encourage you to craft your career in a way that provides the agility necessary for growth and success for the long term. Whatever the industry or organization you pursue, most likely it looks very different than it did 5 or 10 years ago, and it will look very different in the next 5 to 10 years. Agility, flexibility, and staying relevant matter more than ever in a rapidly changing workplace. In each of my jobs, government, law, human services, I set out to optimize my skills toolbox in order to move flexibly along my path to do whatever I wanted. Along the way, I eventually figured out I was pretty good at fixing things and bringing order from chaos. This discovery completely surprised me and set me on the unexpected path to management consulting. My first management consulting job, the executives were not quite sure what to do with me. They didn't care that I'd come with a spectrum of experiences. They didn't care that I'd been a CEO. They hired me into the next to the lowest level in the firm's steep hierarchy. Fresh-faced college graduates were now my peers. What I learned was that I had a talent for the work, I liked the work, and became passionate about it. At the same time, I realized that in order to succeed and stay relevant, I needed to build a skills toolbox from my Roche foundation, since I was starting near the bottom. And that's just what I did. Within a few short years, I was promoted through the multiple ranks to partner in the firm. 20 years later, I still am passionate about being a management consultant. It just took me a really long time to get there. The second lesson I learned was be keenly alert to spot opportunities for an unconventional path and take calculated risks to get there. After 10 years in consulting firms, I established my own. Was it risky? Absolutely. What if no one wanted to hire me? But I minimized those risks by analyzing the market, taking a really hard look at myself, and making an honest, clear-eyed assessment of my strengths and weaknesses. And the clients came. And then completely out of the blue, while on assignment in Paris, I received the call. A national charity that cares for abused, abandoned, and homeless children was on the verge of bankruptcy. They had only one urgent question for me. Can you help keep our doors open, or did we call you too late? That one call led to my stepping away from corporate America for 10 years to become the nonprofit's CEO. The community we built accomplished a dramatic and financial operational turnaround, and it was a privilege to serve the nearly 2,500 children at risk during my time there. A risky proposition to step away to a nonprofit from the corporate world? Absolutely. But the work became my mission and a way to honor my parents for the loving childhood they gave my brother and me. And it was one of the most satisfying chapters in my career. What I learned was to be bold. With an ever-expanding toolbox, over time, I learned to listen to that small, still voice inside of me, even when I was uncertain, and to be ready to seize those opportunities when they came, both ones presented to me, like at the charity, and ones I designed for myself. Of course it is scary and uncertain, but if you only wait for someone to knock on your door, you may become stagnant. Worse yet, the long-awaited knock may never come. You do not want to regret years from now that you played it too safe. So open your own doors or knock other doors down. And finally, my third lesson. Don't go it alone. You already have a community. All those who over the years have had such an impact on your life, those who have cheered you, supported you, and celebrated you along the way. Many are probably here today to celebrate you one more time. In the last few years, you have built a Roche network of classmates and professors, coaches and mentors all. I urge you to cultivate that network, and it will serve you, and you should commit to using it. What I learned the hard way were the consequences of going it alone. Since I was still playing catch-up, I purposely built a community developed a network, and found a mentor. Working in Washington, D.C., I met a government consultant who was a professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. After years of having studied medicine and science, I decided to apply to medical school. And I asked the MIT professor to write that all-important letter of recommendation. By now, I had taken his classes at MIT, and we had several publications together. I thought getting his recommendation would be easy. Confidently, I asked him for the letter. He said no. He said if I wanted to be most effective with my science, I should go to law school. Law school? Law school had never even entered my mind. A second-generation Italian-American, I was the first female in my family to get a college degree. Law school? The application fee to Harvard Law School was $40. The professor took out his wallet, placed two $20 bills on his desk, and slid them across to me. He instructed that I apply to Harvard Law School. He said if I did not get in, I wasn't out anything. If I did get in, it would be the best $40 I ever spent. A poor graduate student, I shoved the two 20s in my jeans pocket, and the following August, I was one of the fortunate few in the first-year class at Harvard Law School. I never looked back. He is still my mentor, and the debt I owe him is beyond measure. So I implore you, don't go it alone. You don't need to. With the passage of time, I now understand more fully all that my father was saying when he granted me lifelong permission to be whatever I wanted. He had confidence in his 5-year-old daughter that she would eventually figure out the fundamentals for a fulfilling professional life. Skills building, agility, resilience, perseverance, community building, a commitment to lifelong learning, gratitude, and service to others. The exact same fundamentals you have learned while earning your degrees here at Roche. You can be whatever you want, and your time is now. Yes, you may make missteps. Yes, you may make mistakes. Yes, the process may be messy. My sincere wish is that each of you will have the most magnificent, mistaken, misstepped, messy path that you can possibly have. And that one day you will look back and realize that your path is a spectacular and blessed adventure. Congratulations to the class of 2015. May God bless you richly in the years ahead, and thank you for inviting me home.